clap.
Oh, that'd be nice. How long had you been working on this album before you went into the studio to record it?
First song from the album that was written, I think, was track number 4, Lucille. I wrote that song in like 8th grade, 7 or 8 years ago. And then I think I wrote it and Aspen Stars, the first half of Aspen Stars, around that time. And then, yeah, then all the other songs were within, I think, the last like 2 or 3 years.
So when you decided you were going to record this album, where did you go to record it?
I recorded the instrumentation at a place in Nashville called Watershed Studios. We work with a producer friend of mine, or my grandfather's originally, and now a friend of mine. His name's Charlie Kelly, and he lived in Nashville a long time, worked on tons of albums. So it was kind of got a leaf on my shoe. It was kind of our first rodeo, working in a big real deal studio. But he picked out the studio called Watershed and got us connected with an engineer and the owner of that studio. So we did that that was January 3rd and 4th of 2018. And then I worked with John Moose Miller at the Moose's Lodge studios. I don't know his. I think he just goes with Infinite Imagination Studios. I think that's what he calls it. And yeah, and then worked with him throughout the spring 2018 semester, just recording there when we found time.
Does Charlie Kelly and the Watershed have any outstanding credits as far as recording history goes?
Watershed, I think Dolly Parton has recorded there, and a couple other pretty big country names. And then Charlie is a 4-time Grammy nominee for producing polka albums. Yeah.
Who played on the album with you?
I'll start with my womb mate, Daniel Sawyer, my brother. He played drums on the album. We've been playing together for, I guess since we first started playing music, since 10, 12 years maybe. So he played drums on it. He's a very talented musician. And then my friend Sam Thomas played keys on it. And then another friend of mine from chat, Will Markham, played bass. That was the first time Will had played on a Drumming Bird project, but he was in an old band of mine with some friends. He's just an incredibly talented bassist, so I wanted him to be on the project. But wait, there's more. So they were the only ones at the studio, but then when we were recording with Moose, we got some horn tracks added. So good buddy Daniel Nunnally played some trombone on the album, and then another friend of mine, Andrew Sparks, played trumpet. And then there were backing vocals from Chloe Kimes and Allie Burgess. Also Dusty did some backing vocals on one song, just a couple lines, but he was just sitting around the house, so we put him to work.
What are the parallels between your real life and the stories you tell on the album?
I think I'm definitely a pretty personal songwriter. I like to start my songs from a personal place. Every song on the album has some element of personal experience, whether that's just commenting on a situation from my personal experience or something I was definitely very involved in. Yeah, some songs more than others, definitely there are parallels you can draw.
A little bit of a legendary moment in which you recorded the album at Watershed in 16 hours. What was that like?
It was a lot of hard work. We had to really, really grind it out, and unfortunately there were some tracks that we had to, like, I don't know, the recordings didn't sound great in the Watershed just because we didn't really have time to thoroughly listen through and redo those. So a couple of the tracks we had to redo with Moose. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's kind of a game and challenge. Charlie was coaching us along the way, so he made it possible. But yeah, we recorded pretty much instrumentation for 9 tracks there with the one exception of Summer Trance was all recorded at Moose's place.
Did you all rehearse a bunch before going into this, or did you just go in with a vague idea of what you were going to play?
We did 2 full band rehearsals before we recorded. Everyone in the band had scratch tracks, so they're familiar with the songs and were able to work up parts. And then Daniel and I had, over Christmas break, since we were both at home, had just practiced. We would run through the album a couple times a week. But yeah, 2 times with the full group before we headed up there and tracked it for real.